PvZ, and we haven't been able to watch much of HiGhDrA. I mean, we have been casting a lot of him recently. He's been very active. Fun fact, HiGhDrA did speak with us at the start of the year, was talking about how he wanted to commit. He wanted to put his all into StarCraft this year, just because in future years he's going to be focusing on studying and focusing on his IRL career. So this is going to be his last year that he can kind of focus on StarCraft, and we'll see what he can bring out here in HomeStory Cup. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Site Delta, we have our Finnish Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player from the land of the Netherlands representing Team Roddy. It is HiGhDrA. Here we go. Again, we just casted Mixu taking down Trigger earlier today. Really good performance. Really surprising result for Mixu to bring down Trigger. So coming into this series, I would have said they're both pretty comparable in skill, but after what we just saw between Mixu and Trigger, I have to say that Mixu is coming in as the favorite player, and HiGhDrA, he's the one that has to prove himself. He's the one that does need to prove himself instead. We'll see if he can. Here we go. I'm catching up with the chat. Really? Mate, you really think Babyling would be captured by anyone? Really, she's the one that's keeping everyone keeping everyone contained. Oh my god. Not like this. Not like this, man. But it's good to see everyone in the chat. I see a Thapia in the chat as well. Again, Photobaz. Istan. Oh my god. Istan. Where have you been? I haven't seen you come first in too long. Aye. But good to see you all. Good to see you all. As we're settling into our next series here. Another PvZ. We've had quite a lot of them today. Quite a lot. And again, we haven't been able to feature too much of HiGhDrA at HomeStory Cup, but I'm happy to be broadcasting his series here against Mixu, and really excited to see how HiGhDrA can perform and what he can bring to the table against a player like Mixu as well. We'll see what he's fond of in this matchup as we are going for a Stargate opener. Been busy with IRL stuff. I'll do a bit. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Poppy. It's okay. As a reminder, of course, next week is going to be a little bit light for us on the CranKy Ducklings, just because next week is IM. Next week is IM Katowice, Poppy. IM is coming up. It's creeping up on us. So be sure to be a part of it. As of course, we do have our depth harass getting across the map. HiGhDrA applying a bit of pressure. Has to be careful not to overextend. Has to be careful not to lose this adept. We'll be pulling back. As adepts, they do shade in towards that third base once again. Oh, trying to pick up a worker. Looks like they can maybe get one. Oh, not even. Not even, as HiGhDrA is forced back. Behind this, though, we have a Void Ray. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. We've been casting nothing but Oracle-based openers the entire day. I'm finally ready to embrace something more aggressive, something more chaotic. Show us the Void Ray. Show us what comes next. With a Void Ray opener, the power of this build for Protoss is you shut down the Overlord. You shut down the Overlord, you keep the Zerg player in the dark, and behind this we can go double Stargate Skytoss, we can go into Adepts, we can go into a Charge All-In, we can do anything we so choose. What will HiGhDrA without? As the Void Ray has been revealed, Mixu fanning out his Lings. Again, his goal here is going to be to try to get a read on what's happening, and we have our answer. It is going to be double Stargate into Skytoss. Fleet Beacons on the way. We're rushing into either Carriers or Tempest. It's a Skytoss rush. Oh boy. So we are aware of what's going on, but Mixu is still in the dark as we end up losing a couple more drones here. 4 workers do go down. We get a 5th. We get maybe even a 6th worker. 5 drones get shut down. And again, Mixu has to piece together what's happening as another Overlord is getting caught out. Big catch there from HiGhDrA. Can we get a 3rd Overlord? Queens are on the way, but there's no transfuse. We're off of creep, and a third Overlord falls. And it is going to be a carrier rush, not Tempest. I mean, either or. Both of them are viable. Both of them do work. As we cancel the Twilight Council, we throw down the Forge. It's just straight carriers here from HiGhDrA. Now, Mixu, I believe, is still droning. Yeah, he's still droning, still working on his roaches. How many queens do we have? 6 queens. It's okay, but the low queen count is concerning. It does mean that these carriers, they can get a lot done. They can achieve a lot of damage. Ooh, as we have a Twilight Council and a couple of gateways. Okay, so HiGhDrA, it looks like he's going for the more modern variation of Skytoss rushing, of double Stargate play, where you make up to 4 carriers. You make 2, and then a third, and then a 4th carrier. And then behind it, we go into, say, +1 Link Stalkers, we can go into Charge Archon, we can transition into a Ground Toss army instead. And the idea, the goal behind this build is to force the Zerg player to overreact, throw down a Spire, and make too many Corruptors. Or just overreact to the Skytoss in general. I'm assuming that's what we're doing here. I'm assuming that's what the plan is. As we have a 3rd and 4th carrier on the way. HiGhDrA is going to be pushing, and oh my god, we're going into not Blink, not Charge, we're going into Glaive Adepts. Oh my god. I haven't seen this before. This is going to be interesting. The carriers are revealing themselves, queens are amassing. Ooh, queens are being targeted down one after the other though. We lose 1, we lose 2, we lose 3. Good target firing, but so many queens are falling. The Spore's not quite done. And this is getting out of hand. We camp the area between the bases. Roach is falling one after the other. The queens are getting caught out. Not like this. More queens falling. This is becoming too much. 6 queens have fallen. We're going to get a 7th, soon to be an 8th. There are 4 spores in production, and we are just camping this natural waste. Remember, behind this, Glaive Adepts. Behind this, Ground Toss. And again, really smart that we're focusing on the Roach Warren. Spire is on the way, as we mentioned. Again, we're forcing a transition into Corruptors. Roaches are going for a big counterattack. Uh-oh. The carriers, we need them back home. We do need these carriers back home. Clutch Force Field here, holding the line. And there's that recall. Yeah, this Roach counterattack, it's going to be shut down. And this is a 2-base all-in out of HiGhDrA. There is no third whatsoever. We have hit critical mass. Well, we have hit 4 carriers. And now, again, we can focus on the ground army. The Roach Warren was sniped. And the Roach Warren is not being rebuilt because Mixu believes he doesn't need the Roach Warren. He believes that all he needs is Corruptors, and that is just not the case. We have 3 Roaches. Even if all these carriers died here and now, the Mass Adept, it would be too much. And here we go, the Adepts, they're warping in! The Adepts, they have arrived. Glaives is done, by the way. And we have no Roach Warren. We have 3 Roaches to defend and a handful of Queens. But the Adepts, they're looking to wreak havoc here in the Mineral Lines. They're looking to try to pull apart the economy of Mixu. As we commit to the Shade, and the Lings, they can do nothing. Oh, the boys are being pulled! Not like this. Drones are going down. At the same time, carriers are pushing towards the 3rd base into a Spore Forest. Not the best angle of attack from HiGhDrA, but pushing in nonetheless. Adepts say Shade into the main base to deny any mining at the main. Queens are falling. And there's still only 2 Roaches. Soon to be 1, soon to be 0 Roaches left. The Corruptors, they dive on the army. And again, these Corruptors, they can clean up all these carriers. But what else can the Corruptors do? What else can be done? As we focus on every single carrier, but the Adepts, what about the Adepts though? As we're wreaking havoc. We're getting every single drone killed. We deny mining at the 3rd, deny mining at the natural, we deny mining here in the main as well. And this is game-ending damage. This is becoming too much. 23, 24, 24 drones. We shade towards the 3rd. with that, HiGhDrA, he's gotten away with this. Again, it was just a 2-base all-in behind this. Corruptors, they're doing what they can. They're caustic spraying down some buildings, but really this is just a bit of a desperation move here out of Mixu. Stalkers have been warped in, and we will save the space. And 40 drones have gone down. 40 workers! Oh god. The economy's in shambles. Mutas are on the way because that's all we really can make. And we're down to 20 drones. And I don't think we can hold on to them. Not anymore. The Roach Warren has been rebuilt. Which is nice and all, but... Again, HiGhDrA. Just nice. Any kind of mining. These are the last couple of drones remaining here, but they get found! No, the drones, they get found out by HiGhDrA. They're being chased down. Stalkers are on the way. GG gets called, and HiGhDrA will take game number 1. GG. Again, it was a Void Ray opener into double Stargate, carrier production into Glaive Adepts, and it worked beautifully. It worked as intended. Remember, the goal of this build is to force an overreaction into Corruptors. We saw Mixu, he was forced into Aspire, into Corruptors. He did kill the carriers, that is true. He killed all 4 carriers, but he had nothing to deal with the Adepts, and he was just pulled apart completely. GG, well played. And with that, HiGhDrA takes a lead in the series. Like, you should stream you're attending the event. I do not have the bandwidth for that. I would love to, but I don't have the bandwidth to stream from my phone, or the money for that either. It's expensive, expensive. Our goal is to one day stop the number of sounder for the first quacker. One day. But yeah, it's gonna be a great time, and regardless, GG well played. HiGhDrA just take a 1-0 lead. But we'll see what we have up our sleeve for game number 2. Again, game 1 was a very specialized build, very specialized all-in from HiGhDrA. I don't expect him to do that again in this series. I don't expect him to do that for a second time, but what else do we have? DTs, regular Glaive Adepts, charge all-ins, Blink Stalker based play. There's a lot available here for HiGhDrA. What do we go for? As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Hard Lead, we have our red Protoss player from the land of the Netherlands representing Team Roddy, leading the series 1-0. It is HiGhDrA. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. Here we go. Again, in a longer game, in a standard game, I would favor Mixu, but clearly HiGhDrA has other things in store for us, has other things planned. It's not looking for a long game, not looking for a macro game. Boy, so what do we go for? What will we have? As for now, HiGhDrA just going for his gate expand. Likewise, Mixu going for his own hatch first. It's going to be a hatch gas pool opener out of Mixu, standard play. HiGhDrA likewise, everything looking normal for now. Really, our big point of deviation is going to be that Stargate. Or it's going to be the tech of choice, whether we go Stargate or Twilight Council, and then from there, what direction do we take? The early game is just going to be standard. Standard. It is just going for the expansion into Cybercore. Meanwhile, Mixu, I'm sure feeling a little bit frustrated. And what I will say is, when it comes to hard lead, short rush distance by ground, after what just happened in game 1, it's very possible that Mixu, he may be the aggressor. He may be the one to turn the tables on HiGhDrA instead. It's possible. It is possible. As for now, we're just getting into our tech of choice. For now, we're just easing ourselves in towards this game. Just going to be droning up. Cybercore is about to finish, and we will soon see our tech of choice. The pylon placement is a little bit suspect. It's closer to the main base of HiGhDrA. So, if it's a Stargate, it could be Void Ray again. It could also be a Twilight Council. I actually really like his Stargate and Void Ray opener in this position. Just because of what happened in game 1, the idea of opening Void Ray, shutting down Overlords, and keeping the Zerg player in the dark, and keeping them anxious as to what happens next, is just a really good way to play out this series. So I like the idea of another Void Ray. We'll see if that's what we get. We'll see if that's the case. For now, just going to be droning. For now, we're just droning. We're just threatening the mineral lines here with this Adept. Dip in between the bases. Stargate is about to finish, and we will soon get eyes on our first unit of choice, and it is going to be... Ha! Give us a Void Ray. As for now, we're focusing on our Adept across the map. We do get a drone, I believe. No, sorry, we don't get a worker, actually. Clutch moves out of Mixu, keeping his mineral line alive. And now we pick our first unit. Or, it's going to be an Oracle first. Not a Void Ray. As a result, it's looking like a standard game. It's looking like an Oracle opener into a third base, into triple Oracle. Looking like a standard PvZ. He spoiled us in game 1. We saw something crazy in game 1, but here in game 2, it's looking like standard play from HiGhDrA. Lings, of course, can be checking for expansions. Mixu still trying to piece together what's going on. Still piecing it together. Oracle does move out. We do get into middle line. 3 drones get picked off. So far, good damage. Well done here by HiGhDrA. Gets a couple of workers before backing the hell off. Behind this, we have another Oracle on the way. Meanwhile, that is a fast Roach Warren. Let's go. No reason to throw down a Roach Warren this early on. We're here at the sub 4-minute 30 mark. Against a Stargate opener. Now, this could just be paranoia. This could just be Mixu playing safe. But my money here is on Mixu going for an all-in. Going for a big Roach Queen timing. Creep is spreading across the map towards the bases of HiGhDrA. Now, we'll see if Mixu cuts workers. For now, he's droning. He's droning up to around 50. He's droning up to 50 and Eva Chamber. With this Eva Chamber on the way, it looks like it is just a safety Roach Warren. This is concerning then. This Roach Warren is too early and we're not making use of it. We're making drones, we're making Lings. Just a very safe way that Mixu is playing, and it does set him behind a little bit. Or again, just kind of wasted resources here as Mixu works towards a 4th. 4th base is on the way, +1 range. Mixu just going to be chilling, just droning. And HiGhDrA is going to be able to take his 3rd. We're getting into the mid game. We're getting past the early game in towards the mid game here into more of a back and forth. I do appreciate it. Do have a pretty big gateway explosion behind this. Immortal production has commenced. Interesting. So we're working towards +1 and blink, which is normal. The safety immortal here is interesting for HiGhDrA. We'll see if we commit to additional immortal production. Oh, as this is a very committed gateway explosion, actually. That's 6 gateways. That is 8 gates in total. 8 gates for HiGhDrA. Now, suddenly, this immortal makes sense. As we do snipe one of those oracles. Big pick off there from Mixu. But my assumption is we're going up to 8-gate blink. We're working up immortals. There we go. We're building up sentries. This looks like a 3-base all-in. This looks like a 3-base all-in at a HiGhDrA. We'll see if he does take a 4th. Mixu is also curious. He's also fanning out his Lings looking for a 4th base. Because the time is here. The time is now to take a 4th. And HiGhDrA hasn't taken the bait. Not yet. As for now, we're waiting for blink. There's that prism on the way. Again, we are going for a big 3-base all-in. Mixu a little bit in the dark. I mean, at least he sees a lack of 4th, so Mixu isn't overdroning. He's cutting workers at 70. He's making Lings, making Roaches. This is a good decision. This is just really good reaction so far from what Mixu has seen, or really from what Mixu hasn't seen. And what he hasn't seen is a 4th. Meanwhile, Overseer dives into the main. We get eyes on the gateway explosion. For the most part, we see the production here of HiGhDrA. And we are pushing. Here comes the 3-base all-in from our Protoss player. But again, Mixu is so prepared for this. He cut workers early on, he didn't take up too heavily, and the Roach army collapses on the Stalkers. We're going to be pulling back, we're going to be microing our heart out here as well. The Immortals putting in a lot of work. But Mixu is being forced further and further back. We do get on top of the Immortals though. Do dive on the army. Sentry's going to be going down. The Immortal gets targeted as well. The juggling a little bit too late. We save one Immortal, but we don't save the other. Again, a good engage here for Mixu. Remember, he was so prepared for this. He was so willing to embrace an all-in, and he is. At the same time, goes for a big lane counterattack. He denies a pylon. Threatens the bases here of Mixu. Ooh, the piles connect. Ay. Again, should not be happening. The army is being forced back, and Mixu is in full control of this game. He is in control. Dives on the army once again. The Biles, they connect with the Stalkers. They even graze the Immortal. It gets focused down. The Biles, they bring down the Prism. We deny the warp in. Massive Biles there from Mixu. GG gets called in. Mixu, he shuts down the all-in, and he takes game number 2, tying us up 1-1. GG. Workers very early on, just focusing on purely Roach production and Ravagers as well. And with that, Mixu, he ties it up. Ties us up 1-1. We're going to the ace match. We're going all the way, and again, I'm still excited to see what HiGhDrA does. Remember, game 1, double Stargate into carriers. Game 2, 3 base all in. Game 3, what do you got? What do you have? Well, where will you take us here in that third game, as we're going to be loading into Equilibrium? Oh my god. Typically a very vetoed map in the map pool. Very heavily vetoed map. I am shocked to see that it is going to be played here in a ZvP. I am a little bit in shock, but we'll see. We'll see what a HiGhDrA has in store for us, because spawning in the top right hand corner, we have our blue Protoss player from the land of the Netherlands, representing Team Brody, being forced into the ace match. It is HiGhDrA. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. Here we go, and again, I'm still very surprised to see us playing on Equilibrium. This map is considered to be very Zerg friendly, just because of how open it is in the center, how you can rush into the goal base and take advantage of it without being punished too hard, and of course the longer rush distance by ground as well. So that because of the reason why I just stated, that's why I'm really curious to see what HiGhDrA has in store for us. Usually this map doesn't go through unless we have a plan, unless we have something cheeky in store. So Mixu does take his third base. Is forced to take his third as a natural. Hatch gas pull. Standard opener out of Mixu. Again, for the most part, my eyes are really on HiGhDrA instead. Where will he go? For now, gate expand. So far, standard opener from HiGhDrA. But will he rush into the goal base? Will he rush into Sky Toss? What is he planning? We're back. Oh, sorry, I just did have to get something. But yeah, we're just easing into this game. For the time being, just hatch gas pull, standard opener, Mixu is droning. HiGhDrA, likewise, still just building himself up, working towards those adepts. As we did mention, these goal bases is going to be a big point of contention for both players. We can get into them quite quickly from either a Protoss or Zerg perspective. And there it is. That's a Robo. Okay, this is why my eyes were on HiGhDrA. You don't come into Equilibrium without a plan, and the plan is a Robo opener. Now, traditionally, this should be Disruptor drops. This should be a Disruptor drop from HiGhDrA. This leads into a Warp Prism, into a Robotics Bay, into Disruptors and Warp Prism speed. Traditionally. But I believe we have also seen HiGhDrA go double Robo, double Prism, quadruple Disruptor drop. I believe we have seen HiGhDrA whip that out before. Is he willing to embrace that again? Is he willing to pull an Estrella, is the question. Adept's going to be shading in between the bases, keeping an eye on things. And we'll see where HiGhDrA does take us. Oh, Ling Scout does attempt to come in, but no, we are denied. Ling gets shut down. Observer first. There's the Bay. But I'm curious. Do we throw down another Robo? Are we that crazy? Are we that wild? For now, we're fully walling off. Getting into our gases. Meanwhile, Mixu is still droning, rushing into the gold. We do have a third and a fourth base on the way, double expanding here. There's that Prism in production. Again, this should be a Disruptor drop. We'll see how committed the Disruptor drop is. And again, this needs to get damage done. Mixu, he recognizes something is wrong. He's going into a fast Roach Warren. That is a 4-minute Roach Warren timing. Still no third base has been scouted. So Mixu, he's aware that aggression is coming. Doesn't know what. For all Mixu knows, it could be Glaive Adepts. Could be Glaives, could be Charge, could be anything. As here comes that first Prism. Here come the first Disruptors as well. Now, I believe if this was the double Robo build, we would have already seen the second Robo. I believe it would already be here if that was the case. So it's just going to be a more standard Disruptor drop build here from HiGhDrA. Once again, the Overlord is being forced back, and we are going for interesting. Okay, there we go. I was like, Colossus already, but we don't even have a second Disruptor. There we go. Second Disruptor on the way. Then into Colossus production to survive. Gateway Explosion is upon us. Adepts, they do shade in. We commit to the shade. We get one drone. We get a second. Oh, we're trying to get that second worker, and we do not get there. Adepts are shut down, and that is a massive Gateway Explosion. This is a 2-base all-in. 6 gateways in total. Disruptors are moving out, and 2-base all-in on Equilibrium. How do I feel about this? It's going to be a vanilla gateway all-in. That's the worrisome thing. It's going to be 8 gates. 6 in the main, 2 at the natural, 8 gates, 2-base all-in in total. Remember, no Blink, no Glaives, no Charge. It's going to be Sentries, it's going to be Colossus, it's going to be Stalkers, I imagine, to help support. Vanilla Stalkers. Here comes the Disruptor. Up! So we do miss the first Nova, a little bit less than ideal. Prism force back. As we get ready for this as well. Big shout out to Keybrit in the chat. Oh, thank you, Keybrit, thank you. Keybrit. Gracias, gracias. Thank you so much for subscribing for 2 months in a row, papi. Oh, thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. And we'll see how this series turns out as well. You came just in time for the finale. Game 3 of these 2 players. Again, Robo opener here. Disruptor drop start from HiGhDrA. So far, unsuccessful. Look at the trades. HiGhDrA, despite opening up double Disruptor, 2 Lings. We've only killed 2 Lings so far. This has not been worth it. But it's still a 2-base all-in. And here we go. HiGhDrA moving out with his Phoenixes. Sorry, moving out with his Sentries, what I meant to say. Moving out with his Colossus. It's all about the force fields, all about the Sentries. And of course, those Purification Novas. Lings moving out, setting up for a massive counterattack. Here we go. HiGhDrA, he is pushing. Novas are going off. Good splits. So far, good splits out of Mixu, but there may just be too much Lings. They come in from behind. A massive surround on the army. Force fields are thrown down, but Mixu, he collapses on top of this, shutting this down. Gets on top of the Sentries, gets on top of the Stalkers. No more force fields, and that Colossus is solo. Where's the juggling? We barely save the Colossus, but everything else is falling. And remember, there's no Blink. There's no easy way for these Stalkers to get out of this. As we try to reinforce, the Colossus does fall. And HiGhDrA, he was already all in, but again, he just did not achieve enough damage with his disruptors, didn't do any economic damage, didn't trade against the army, didn't kill queens, nothing was accomplished. And as a result, HiGhDrA, he's up against the wall. HiGhDRA's in a brutal position right now. It's so difficult, nigh impossible to transition out of this. And Mixu is maxing out. Mixu is remaxing on roaches, on ravagers. Roach speed on the way, creep is spreading through the center of the map as well. And HiGhDrA, he does need time. And even then, the longer this goes on, the better it is for Mixu. Like, just everything is going Mixu's way. We do have a good amount of stalkers, but again, no blink. And no blink suddenly makes them that much more weaker, that much more vulnerable. So we do push in. Stalkers have arrived. They focus on one of those roaches. Okay. How do we win this? If we get the most perfect Novas, like I'm talking the perfect Novas here for HiGhDrA, like back to back, then maybe we can take this. But Mixu, he's maxing out 200 supply. We're getting there. We are getting there. Key Brits. Oh, okay. Thank you for letting us know. Fastest puppy as we do push on forward here. We collapse on the army. Nova's going to be going off. Good connections. Good connections with the Novas, but it looks like we may just have too much Zerg here as we break on through. Bile's able to connect. They almost bring down that prism. Disruptor gets targeted down. We have one Colossus. No, not even one Colossus survives. Ooh. And Mixu completely shuts down this push. Swallows it up. A handful of stalkers remain. GG gets called, and Mixu will take the series 2-1, taking down HiGhDrA. GG. GG. Huh. Well played. Mixu, he didn't know what was happening, but he correctly identified that it was going to be a 2-base all-in. He correctly identified it was not safe to drone, and he did make as many roaches as possible. Likewise, the initial disruptor drop was lackluster. That's the reality here, is that disruptor drop just wasn't able to trade well at all. We didn't get into a mineral line, didn't kill queens, didn't kill roaches. We killed 3 lings. And even then, I don't think they died to the Novas either. I think, like, just at the course of the game, they fell. So just a really rough opener out of HiGhDrA. If you're curious yourself, if you're a Protoss player out there, when it comes to these Robo openers, you need to get damage done. If you don't, you fall behind. You do fall behind if you do not kill enough with your initial disruptors. That's exactly what did occur. GG, well played. And with that, that wraps up our second last series of the night. Does wrap us up here. Mixu does take down HiGhDrA 2-0. And we have 1 series left. Uno más, papi, uno más. We have one final ZvP. We had a lot of ZvPs today, but one final ZvP between Scarlet and Trigger in a bit of a Canadian Civil War, Canada on Canada action. Scarlet versus Trigger going to be coming up next after a small break. We're going to be going on a short break here as we are reaching the end of the broadcast. We have 1 series remaining, but take this moment to get some rest, to get some snacks, get some food, and prepare yourself for what is to come for this ZvP. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. Look forward to it. For now, going to be heading off. Take this moment to hydrate HiGhDRAs, massage your marines, stretch your roaches, and cuddle your carriers. Tuck in your Tempest. Marinate your Marauders. We'll see you soon. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Until then, take care. Enjoy the brutal OST.